If you're a guest in our country, act like it. USCIS warns green cards will be revoked if the U.S. is now warning immigrants. Your social media posts could impact your visa or immigration status. Digital footprints are under growing government scrutiny. If you are interested in this, please pay attention and watch the video through to the end to get all the information. Please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to push the notification bell on upcoming video. Donald Trump administration's series of federal cuts, tariff threats, ongoing deportations had already caused the POTUS to receive the lowest approval rating in years. Amid all this, the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services has now announced a new warning, asking green card holders to abide by the laws and values of the U.S. USCIS warning. Claiming that receiving a visa or a green card from the U.S. is a privilege, the U.S. has issued a stern warning on X. Green cards and visas will be revoked if an alien breaks the law. Coming to America and receiving a visa or green card is a privilege. Our laws and values must be respected. If you advocate for violence, endorse or support terrorist activity, or encourage others to do so, you are no longer eligible to stay in the U.S., the Immigration Department added further. As reported by Newsweek, the latest warning follows a tougher immigration push by the Trump administration. What's striking is that it's not just aimed at undocumented immigrants. Even legal residents in the U.S. could be affected by the expanded enforcement measures. As per the media outlet, visa revocations can lead to legal status terminations. On April 30th, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement indicated that it could start terminating a person's legal status because of visa revocation, reported NBC News, citing an internal memo. According to the NBC News report, the memo from the Student and Exchange Visitor Program part of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement revealed an expanded list of criteria for IC to terminate foreign-born students' legal status in the U.S. Until the internal memo was released, international students could lose their legal status in the U.S. for reasons like dropping out of school, losing work authorization, or committing certain crimes, but they usually had the right to due process first, according to attorneys. Under the new memo, however, a visa revocation alone is enough to immediately terminate a student's legal status. Green card privilege, not a right. Continuing in the same thread as the earlier warning, the U.S. has issued further warnings, reiterating the department's claims that green cards and visas are a privilege. Understanding the key agencies in U.S. immigration, Department of State, Customs and Border Protection, and USCIS. Navigating the U.S. immigration system can be an overwhelming task, especially for newcomers trying to understand which agency handles what. The process often involves more than one government body, and each agency has its own jurisdiction and set of responsibilities. To better understand how immigration works in practice, it's essential to know the distinct roles of three key federal agencies: the Department of State, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, and U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Each agency contributes to different stages of the immigration process, from applying for a visa abroad and in the country, and adjusting your immigration status once inside. Department of State, your first stop abroad. The U.S. Department of State is primarily responsible for managing America's foreign relations, which includes handling visa applications through U.S. embassies and consulates around the world. If you're applying to visit, work, study, or immigrate to the United States, the DOS will likely be your first point of contact. Key functions include visa issuance. DOS consular officers handle both non-immigrant temporary and immigrant permanent visa applications. This includes B-2 tourist visas, F-1 student visas, H-1B work visas, and family or employment-based immigrant visas. Visa interviews and eligibility reviews. Most visa applicants must attend an interview where consular officers assess eligibility, review supporting documentation, and determine whether the applicant qualifies for the visa. Exchange programs and travel advisories. The DOS oversees educational and cultural exchange programs, like J-1 visas, and issues travel advisories for U.S. citizens abroad. In short, the DOS is responsible for screening and approving foreign nationals before they can travel to the U.S., acting as the gatekeeper at the international level. Customs and Border Protection. Gatekeeper at the U.S. border. Once a visa is issued by the DOS, your next major encounter in the immigration process is with CBP. As part of the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, CBP manages and enforces immigration laws at all U.S. ports of entry, including airports, seaports, and land border crossings. CBP's core duties include inspection at ports of entry. CBP officers verify travel documents, question arrivals, and decide whether a person is admissible into the U.S. even if they have a valid visa. Immigration and customs enforcement. Officers can deny entry to individuals who pose a security risk or do not meet U.S. entry requirements. CBP also checks luggage and cargo to enforce customs laws. Security and border protection. CBP plays a vital role in national security by preventing the entry of unauthorized individuals, drugs, contraband, and potential threats. It's important to note that holding a valid visa does not guarantee entry. CBP officers have the final authority to allow or deny entry based on their inspection and determination at the border. U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, processing immigration benefits inside the U.S. USCIS, also under the Department of Homeland Security, handles immigration services and benefits for individuals already in the United States or seeking to gain lawful status from abroad. Unlike DAS or CBP, USCIS is not involved in visa issuance or border enforcement. Instead, it manages the paperwork, interviews, and approvals for immigration benefits and legal status. USCIS responsibilities include green card applications. USCIS processes both adjustment of status applications for people already in the U.S. and certain petitions for relatives or employees seeking lawful permanent residence. Naturalization. Individuals seeking to become U.S. citizens must apply through USCIS, complete interviews, pass a civics test, and take the oath of allegiance. Work and travel authorization. USCIS issues employment authorization documents and advanced parole travel permits, allowing eligible individuals to work or re-enter the U.S. after travel. Humanitarian programs. USCIS manages applications for asylum, refugee resettlement, temporary protected status, and humanitarian parole. How these agencies work together. Many immigrants interact with all three agencies at different stages of their journey. H-1B applicant might start by filing a petition with USCIS. Once approved, they attend a visa interview at a U.S. embassy managed by the DAS. With a visa in hand, they then pass through CBP inspection upon arrival in the U.S. if they later apply for a green card or citizenship. The process returns to USCIS. The distinct yet interconnected roles of DAS, CBP, and USCIS is crucial to navigating the U.S. immigration system successfully. By knowing which agency handles each stage of the process, applicants can better prepare for each step and avoid common pitfalls. Seeking U.S. green card? How your social media activity could hamper your chances. The U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services has proposed to collect information on social media accounts of people applying to enter the U.S. It will also affect those who are already in the country seeking a green card permanent residency or citizenship. Are you seeking a green card to the United States? Then you might want to be careful about what you post on social media activity. The U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, the federal agency that oversees legal migration, has proposed to demand social media accounts of people applying for green cards. The agency says this is to comply with President Donald Trump's Protecting the United States from Foreign Terrorists and Other National Security and Public Safety Threats executive order issued on his first day in office on January 20th. What has USCIS said? USCIS has proposed to collect information about social media activity of immigrants trying to enter the U.S. It claims this information is necessary for a rigorous vetting and screening of all people applying for immigration-related benefits. In the notice published in the Federal Register on Wednesday, March 5th, the U.S. agency, which approves visas and other immigration benefits, said that the proposed measure will apply to people applying for green cards, American citizenship, and asylum or refugee status. The relatives of people who have been granted asylum or refugee status will also be affected by the proposed policy. USCIS has argued that the social media rule is necessary to comply with Trump's executive order on protecting the U.S. from terrorism and national security threats. In its order, The White House directed the Department of Homeland Security and other government agencies to identify all resources that may be used to ensure that all aliens seeking admission to the United States, or who are already in the United States, are vetted and screened to the maximum degree possible. The public has until May 5th to comment on USCIS plan. As per the agency's estimates, the proposed policy is likely to affect over 3.5 million, 35 lakh people. A USCIS spokesperson told Newsweek that verifying social media activity would boost fraud detection and whether the applicants pose a threat to public safety or national security. Why is it being criticized? USCIS's social media plan is being condemned by immigrant advocates who have flagged privacy and freedom of speech concerns. Catalyze/Citizens, a pro-immigration group, told The Verge that the proposed policy would weaponize digital platforms against immigrants. This is not immigration policy. It is authoritarianism and undemocratic surveillance. Beatriz Lopez, the group's executive director, said in an email, Trump is turning online spaces into surveillance traps where immigrants are forced to watch their every move and censor their speech or risk their futures in this country. Today it's immigrants. Tomorrow it's U.S. citizens who dissent with Trump and his administration. Are USCIS staff going to be maintained at the same level, or will they also experience cutbacks, and how will that affect their ability to be adjudicating these applications? Kathleen Bush-Joseph, policy analyst at the Migration Policy Institute, said to Newsweek, what is actually considered social media and how many different platforms there are a lot of unknowns here. Bush-Joseph added, these forms that people are filling out for these various benefit applications are extremely comprehensive and ask a number of detailed questions. There are also concerns that vetting of social media accounts would deter people seeking green cards, permanent residency, and U.S. citizenship. These are people who could have been residing in the U.S. for 30, 40 years as a green card holder who are seeking citizenship, or people who are residing on other types of visas who are seeking a green card. It really creates a massive chilling effect about people who could be vetted for their online speech who have every right to be here in this country and could be chilled from sharing their opinions because they're concerned they're going to be vetted and denied immigration benefits such as naturalization. In 2019, the U.S. State Department implemented a policy requiring all visa applicants to disclose 5 years' worth of social media history. This applied to foreigners applying for visas from outside the U.S. Unlike the State Department's policy, USCIS plan will be applied to those already in the U.S. seeking permanent residency or citizenship. But it is too soon to say whether USCIS proposed social media policy will be used to reject applications for green cards, citizenship, and refugee status. Analyst Bush-Joseph told The Verge. It remains unclear how USCIS will interpret posts, how long they will store data, or what guidelines they will use to flag concerns. There is also a risk that applicants could face denials based on online activity that is taken out of context. With social media under watch, immigrants face new risks. What you post online could now shape your future in the U.S. That is all today in this video. What are your thoughts on this? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the entire video. Hopefully, the information is useful to you. See you later in the next video. Till then, take care.
If you are a guest in our country, act like that the USCIS green card will be revoked. The US government has escalated its surveillance of immigrants with the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, issuing a stern public warning via its official as-formerly Twitter account. Emphasizing national security and public safety, USCIS declared that it is actively monitoring immigrant social media activities, stating everyone should be on notice. This surveillance builds upon policies initiated under former President Donald Trump, who mandated the collection of social media handles from visa applicants on his first day in office. This intensifies the scrutiny has raised serious ethical and legal concerns, particularly as the policy expands to include not only new visa applicants but also current green card holders, naturalization applicants, asylum seekers, and their families, potentially affecting over 3.5 million people. Critics warn the expansion turns social media into a surveillance tool infringing on free speech and privacy. Advocates like Beatriz Lopez of Catalyze Our citizens have condemned the policy as authoritarian, arguing it may silence immigrants for fear their online opinion could jeopardize their legal status. The US immigration system is enforced by three main agencies: the Department of State, Visa Issuance, Customs and Border Protection, Anti Enforcement, and USCIS, processing immigration benefits inside the US. However, USCIS shift in law now label visas and green cards as privileges rather than rights, signals a more aggressive stance on enforcement. The agency warned that green cards for or visas may be revoked if a holder advocates violence, supports terrorism, or violates US law or values. This message aligned with the broader Trump-era policies, which included taxation, federal budget cuts, and threat of tariffs. Legal residents are not exempt. A leaked memo from US Immigration and Customs Enforcement revealed that visa revocation alone could now be grounds for immediately terminating legal status, bypassing traditional due process protections for international students. These developments contribute to a growing climate of fear and uncertainty for immigrants, both documented and undocumented, as expanding surveillance and enforcement measures increasingly blur the lines between national security and civil liberty violations.